When the last combat brigade left Baghdad, they drove 320 strikers nearly 600 kilometers to Kuwait, retracing the route the American military took when it invaded Iraq 7.5 years ago. For some soldiers, it was going out the way they came in, but for others, they hardly remember the invasion.
Yeah, 12 or 13, I grew up with it. You know, it's what I've known for almost the majority of my life, so I never considered an end.
But for those who were old enough to be there, they had a different take on the beginning of Operation Iraqi Freedom.
We went through them like crap through a goose, and then we ended up hanging out here forever.
As the end of Operation Iraqi Freedom came to a close, soldiers reflected on what they accomplished, their place in history, and if they achieved victory. Does it feel like victory?
It feels like a closing. I don't know what you want to call it. Where, you know, it might be a victory to some people, but I feel like we're closing something, a book that we opened.
Like, what were you expecting then for the end of the war to look like?
Wasn't this?
What was it?
Well, they wouldn't be blowing themselves up when we left.
What are you most excited about tonight?
Knowing I'm going home, sir. That's for sure. Knowing that, hopefully, especially being here so many times, that this is the last time I have to be here in Iraq. I think they're good to go. I think they got it. You know, so now I'm prepping myself mentally to go to Afghanistan next.
Before anyone can go to Afghanistan or home to see their family, we still had a long drive ahead and a handful of hours of war left between here and Kuwait. So we loaded up and hit the road. We've been traveling through the night the last 2 nights in a row with this unit, all the way from Baghdad to now being only 25 kilometers away from the country of Kuwait. And when these soldiers cross that border, for many of them, it's the end of a very long journey. Iraq's been a huge part of your life for the last several years. Have you really thought about what today crossing that border means, and what does it mean for you?
To me, it just means that it's finally over. It's finished. We came here, we started it, and now we finished it. We came here and did what we said we were going to do. Yeah.
What about for you personally?
For me personally, it's just closure, an ending. Going from my first tour to my second to my third. It's just giving myself closure.
After 17.5 hours in the Stryker, we finally arrive at the Kuwait border. For soldiers crossing this threshold, they know it's a milestone, but they also know that they won't be the ultimate judge of what they've left behind.
History will judge the ultimate success of our efforts here in Iraq, but I think somewhere down the road you will see a sovereign and capable nation emerge.
There's still a war for them, you know? There's still a war for them. They've got to secure their own country and keep working at it. So for us, sure, we're leaving and we're gone.
Now, less than 50,000 U.S. troops remain in Iraq, and after weeks of violence across the country, it's clear that their departure signals less the end of a war, but rather the end of this war for these soldiers. Josh Rushing, Al Jazeera, Camp Virginia, Kuwait.